Before we jump into the story and where you came up from with the story, I know it's based on a novel, but I want to ask, where exactly did you shoot? Because it must have been the rainy season wherever you shot, because I noticed the mist immediately. Where did you shoot this?
We shot in Kloof in Limpopo. It's a forest. It's this beautiful forest in the Limpopo province. And yes, it was the rainy season, and we had to reschedule everything every single day. And there were snakes and rain and mudslides and everything to contend with. So it was a really, really tough shoot.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I guess when the rainy season comes, it's relentless, but also, yeah, the animals, the creatures, I mean, spiders, bugs, I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Exactly. Actually, one of our cast members, our crew members, got bitten by a sac spider, and she had to get anti-venom and spent about 3 or 4 days in hospital. So it's like really shooting in Africa is not for sissies.
Wow. But let's jump to the novel. What caught your eye about it? What made you fall in love with the story?
It's a youth novel by Rihanna Skeepers, and I just love the themes of the book. It was all about fears and this little girl living with this curse and having to overcome all her fears. I changed it quite a bit from the novel. I introduced the Moonship, which wasn't in the novel, but that's where it all started. It was very whimsical and strange and interesting, and I just loved that.
I love how you immediately get us into kind of that scary mode from the very beginning with the point of view of the creature, which is part of the ghost story at the very beginning. You talked to me about the different moods you were trying to hit with the film, because I think the film does go with her. It starts out very scared, and then as she grows stronger, we see more uplifting scenery as well. It changes with her.
Yes, absolutely. I think that was part of the idea, is to really get into the mind of this tiny little girl and to experience the entire film from her point of view. And as she grows stronger, and then she falls back again and gets more afraid at some point. So I think everything from the mise-en-scène to the camera moves to the art direction, everything played into her fear, because that was the theme of the film. It was fear versus freedom, and we looked at every single frame as like, is this a fear frame? Is this freedom? And everything had to play into that.
Did you use photography for your setups, or did you just kind of go with, storyboard? I'm curious, because there's a lot of long shots that seem very, it could have been based on a photo.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of it was based on photography. I actually trawled the internet. I had a Pinterest board, a hidden Pinterest board that was just thousands of inspiration of photos of everything from the art direction again, cinematography, photography. We had so much inspiration, and we actually put that into our shot list. We had photos with every single scene.
Oh, wow.
For inspiration for that scene. It's like that's the photo, and that's the mood and the lighting and the atmosphere that we want to capture in that film and that scene.
Wow, that sounds fun. Yeah. How long did you shoot for?
We shot for 5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, 4 weeks in Kloof, and then 1 week in Johannesburg.
Okay, yeah. You can you can see that. So what was, casting wise, what made you pick her? I think she's obviously adorable, but there is very much an inquisitive nature about her. One of my favorite scenes is in the very beginning, is her picking the should I go to the farm or should I not? She seems so adherent. She's got the little helmet. I love that scene. Yeah. What made you go with her?
It was actually very interesting. She wasn't casted in initially. We had another girl, and that girl got attacked by a lion. I know it's only in Africa.
Yeah.
She got attacked by a lion because she was actually working on a film with lions, and we lost her literally a week before shooting.
Wow.
And we had to scramble, and we found Anshan, and it was just an absolute blessing in disguise. I mean, she was just phenomenal and so easy to work with, and she was literally like a 2-take or 1-take wonder. And she just had a maturity about her, and she really inhabited the character the entire time. It isn't really her personality, but she just really kind of embraced that fearfulness and that quietness, which was just phenomenal.
Another casting choice I really loved was her mother, and it's a role that kind of builds. Tell me about her casting.
She was actually the very first person I saw, And I fell in love with her immediately, but I knew, okay, I can't fall in love with her, just put her aside. I have to see like 30 or 50, however many more people. But she just stayed with me because even in the audition, she just had this darkness and this kind of fearfulness and this kind of strangeness about her. And I just knew she took the character in a completely different way. I didn't even imagine her to be that dark, and I just absolutely loved that.
Let's ask the language question. Choosing not to do it in English, but in Afrikaans, it's a bold choice, but it fits, and I think it fits to the story, but also to where you're going with it and the heritage of the names and everything about that. Can you talk about deciding to go with that? Was that always the choice?
Yes, that was always the choice. Firstly, because of the book, and secondly, I think it's also part of the kind of Afrikaans heritage. This idea, that kind of spookiness, and the idea of curses, which is very much a part of Afrikaans culture. I've heard of so many people who think that their farms are cursed or their names are cursed. So I just felt that it really kind of suited that Afrikaans identity.
Do you have any connections to any curses yourself that you inherited into the movie, like that brought back memories for you?
Thankfully not, I must admit. I've got a lot of friends who have curses, or have thought that their parents or grandparents had curses or knew about curses, but thankfully I didn't have any. Yeah.
What was the most enjoyable part of the shoot, and what was the toughest part of the shoot?
I think just shooting in Maguba's Kloof and being able to be in the middle of this beautiful, beautiful forest every single day was just absolutely incredible. The birds and nature and even the snakes and everything else we had to contend with, it was just absolutely magical. And at the same time, that was also the hardest thing about the shoot, because it was really, really, really hard. And being able to be in this isolated little place with the entire crew, and we grew so close and really got to know each other, and the cast as well, and I think that also created a bit of magic.
Let's talk about the Moonship and adding that.
Yes.
How important was it? I think it seemed seamless to the whole plot, but what was that process like, bringing that into the story?
We realized, because the book was quite short, there wasn't really any kind of build, there wasn't any kind of climax. Bubesi was in the story, but he had a very, very small part. So that's why we wanted to bring some whimsy into the story, and we want to play with his imagination and her imagination, and really to get into their minds. And that's how we introduced the Moonship. And I wanted the Moonship to be a representation of a little boy's imagination, and that's why it's a bit rickety and a bit strange and weird.
How much fun was it constructing that? Because I think that's part of the cool, unique factor of it, is the way y'all did build it and how it's built. It's interesting. Yeah.
That was our production designer, Valdemar. He was just incredible. He went around Maguba's Kloof and he drew with his pickup truck, and he just found scrap metal everywhere. And he just constructed this thing, and he did it almost by himself. He had one or two people helping him. And me and the DP just kept saying, higher, higher. So eventually it got so high, he had to get an engineer involved, and they had to do proper sign-off and do proper plans, because otherwise it wouldn't have been safe for all the actors to be on it. So it started very small, but then grew into this kind of strange, wonderful thing, and almost had its own identity in the film.
Yeah. Can you talk about the cameras you used? And I mean, you guys used a lot of, I don't know if they were cranes or drones, but a lot of aerial footage to capture the beauty of the area.
Yes.
What were you guys shooting on?
We were shooting on the Alexa Mini, which we were lucky because our cinematographer owns one, and he gave it to us at a very good price. And we did a lot of drone shots. Yes, we got a drone in for, I think, a day. So he had to do a lot in a day. And we also had the little Ari gimbal.
Okay, yeah.
That was also our cinematographer. So that's all our kind of floating footage was all him on the little Maxima gimbal.
Yeah, I know, it works. Wow.
Yes, yeah.
What does it mean to be included in a festival that honors story, the writer? That must be special. It's not just a film festival. It's something that's honoring the story behind everything and the building blocks of what makes a film.
I mean, it's incredibly special. I mean, I've always been a fan of the Austin Film Festival, And I've, for many, many years, actually wanted to attend just to come to the conference. So to be selected to be in this festival was absolutely incredible and mind-blowing and a huge celebration. And again, just as a writer, I was just so proud and excited to just be able to attend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to ask, the art scene in South Africa, I think, is starting to blossom, just like the food scene is exploding right now. Can you talk a bit about, for people that don't know, what to expect from South African filmmakers, artists? There's a renaissance going on, I think,
Yes.
in the country that people aren't noticing, and it's something special, I think.
Yes, absolutely. I think especially our film scene is really blossoming. I mean, this year we had so many films at Toronto that actually did incredibly well. We have Oliver Hermanus is one of our filmmakers who's just it's been at all the major film festivals this year as well. And we've got a lot of people investing in film, investing in arts and culture, the government especially as well. We wouldn't be able to make films if it wasn't for the National Film and Video Foundation. So I think the government is really trying to uplift the art scene, and especially films in South Africa.
What are you working on now? What's in the hamper for you now?
I'm working on a script at the moment called The Poem, and it's really hard. That's why I'm so glad I'm at a screenwriting festival to get inspiration, because I've just written a first draft, and I know it needs a lot of work, but I've just seen the most amazing talks, and I know exactly what to do on the script when I get back, so I'm very excited.
You know, it's always tough to ask where distribution is coming from for this film, but what do you hope the life of this film is? I mean, will there be obviously South African release, but will there be outside South Africa release as well?
Yes, we've got a South African release in March next year, and then we'll probably hope to try and get onto like a Netflix or get some other kind of international distribution, but we haven't really looked into that yet.
So are you excited? I mean, that's coming up a lot quicker than,
Yes.
you know, it's only 5 months away, basically.
Yes, exactly.
That's got to be kind of exciting.
Very exciting, yeah, I can't wait.
Wow. Well, Hanneke, I love the film. I was kind of blown away by it. And thank you for coming in, and thank you for coming to the festival.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.